In this video, I'm going to introduce Quick Play Baseball online, which is a different way to play Quick Play Baseball, which is a tabletop cards and dice baseball game. Actually, just a card game because you don't play with dice, but it's in the category of cards and dice. And Quick Play Online is basically an online mirror of that tabletop baseball game. So let me just walk you through some of the basics of tabletop or Quick Play Online. And we have our situation cards. So if you're familiar with the game, you know about the situation cards. And then we have our standard deck of cards here. One representing the home team, one visitors, homes, and the hits stack. So if you're familiar with playing, you'll know these three these three stacks, and maybe you've played it with just one stack for batters and one stack for hits. I'm not sure. But we have our scoreboard up here. With our scoreboard, you can keep track of the game, so you can either use the controls to go up and down like this, or you can just simply input a number into into each square. It automatically tallies the runs for you if you need to. If you made a mistake and you need to adjust that, you can adjust it for each inning. And if we go to here where it says to select the season, then we select our team. So currently I only have the 1978 National League available, and I'll be working on a more full and robust version of the game that includes more seasons and more players. But for right now, because I wanted to add the pitching into the baseball game, which is relatively new, that's not available offline, I wanted to just put this out there so that people can try the 1978 National League, which is what we have here. So simply you just choose a team, and that's your away team. You can see here that these are the visitors, and then the home team you'll see is, let's say, the Mets. So you can see that it's going to be the 78 Dodgers. There's your visiting team against the Mets. Here's your home team. And these can be, just erased. And that sort of brings us back to zero in every sense of the word. So this is how the game would start out. We have each of our lineups here. And if you've played the game, you're familiar with the lineups. And that's the lineups come on the standard tabletop baseball game. There are stars here. The stars represent star players. So you get a star if for that season your batting runs was 20 or more. So if your batting runs was 20 or more, you get a star. And 20 batting runs for the year means you're it stands for someone who's like an all-star caliber player. If you get 30, 30 is like a perennial MVP type of player. So there were no players over here for the 78 Mets who had a 20 batting runs or more. They may still be good hitters, but they're not all-star caliber hitters. But you can see here these three guys, definitely all-star caliber players, and Steve Garvey even, a perennial MVP type player throughout his career. So down here we have the staff. This is the pitching staff. And so you can see it's broken down into starters and relievers, and that's for both teams. And then we have our pitching grade here, and you can actually select the pitching grade, whether it's A, B, or C. And if you're not familiar with pitching, I'll put a link down in the description that shows you the introduction to the pitching, and it shows you on the tabletop, but I think you'll be able to understand how pitching works. For the most part, pitching in the online version is all done for you. You simply choose a grade, and all of the work is done to figure out inside these stacks, what cards should come up. Essentially, the pitching, when you change the grade from an A to a B to a C, it changes the percentage or the possibilities of getting a hit. So for an A pitcher, and you have to think the opposite. So for the Dodgers, for their grade to be an A, that affects the home team because they're the away team. So it's going to affect this pile where the home team is batting from. And to change the grade over here affects the visitor pile. So you see, think of it the opposite, right? Because the Mets pitching will affect the Dodgers batting, which will be in this pile here. So the difference between, so let's say the pitching grade for the Mets is a B. They're starting Nino Espinosa. So we'll say that. And then you want to use the B grade for Espinosa. So this pile here will have from 5 to 9 and then 2 10s. Those are your possibilities in this stack. With an A pitcher over here against the home team Mets, then the odds go into the favor of the pitching staff. So instead of a 5 to a 9, it would be a 4 to a 9. So we add one more out possibility. Still 2 hits. And so instead of 2 hits out of 8, which would be for an A pitcher, 2 hits out of 8 is a 250 average, or 25% possibility of a hit. And for the visitors in the B grade, that would be three outs. I'm sorry, 2 hits out of 7. 2 hits out of 7 is about a 287, 286 average, depending on if you round up. So you can see that there's less of a chance of getting a hit against a better pitcher than against a worse pitcher. For a C-graded pitcher, it's 2 hits out of 6, which is 1/3, which is a 333 batting average. So that's how the averages work out. And it doesn't guarantee that a C pitcher is going to have a horrible game, or that just because they give up a lot of hits, they'll give up a lot of runs, just like in baseball. But it does increase the probability of a hit, and hits with men on base are what this baseball game is all about. So the way that you typically play is you click first into the situation card, and the situation cards look exactly like the situation cards that you would download for the tabletop game. So you're essentially top of the first inning and the Dodgers are ahead. You're looking at this as your situation. So this game plays 1 half inning at a time, and there's 1 action per half inning. So here's our situation. It's bases loaded and 2 outs. And I'll show you in just a moment how sort of moving down the aisle works. But this is a really good example. This is called the wild card. So when you see the asterisk, and what the wild card does is allows you to choose any player in your lineup to take this at bat. So bases loaded, 2 outs, and let's say maybe normally the pitcher would be up. When you get a wild card, you can just advance that all the way to one of these star players and have him take the swing. And the advantage of a star player is that on a 9 or a 10, the star player will trigger a hit. A regular player with no star only triggers a hit on a 10. So in a card pile here that has, let's see, the visitor pile is a B, right? So there are 2 10s and then 5 through 9. So 1 of each of the 5 through 9 cards. So normally it's a 5 through 9 is an out, but for a star player, it's 3 hits out of 7 instead of 2 hits out of 7, because there's 1 9 and 2 10s. So the odds of Reggie Smith getting a hit and triggering a hit are much greater than they are for, let's say, Rick Monday or Steve Yeager. So we have our player here, and then once you have the player chosen, you just simply click on his name and it'll highlight him. So instead of keeping track of the player with some sort of marker, which is what you have to do on the tabletop version, you simply can click on the player's name. And that helps you to keep track of where you are in the lineup, because it's important to know how many batters to go down for the next inning to take the swing. So we have our play here, and then because this is the Dodgers are visiting, we're going to use the visitor pile. And again, the visitor pile is affected by this rating here. So we click here, and this is a 9. And so a 9 for a star player is exactly why we chose the star player to take this swing with the wild card. So a 9 triggers a hit. Normally, if it was one of these guys, a 9 would be an out, and then you'd move on to the next half inning. But here it triggers a hit, and then because it's a hit, we need to pull off the hit pile. So we click here. Excuse me. And the hit here is going to be a single. So our hits are Jack is a single, Queen is a double, King is a triple, Ace is a home run. So for excuse me, for a Jack, that's going to be a single. And then with 2 outs, each instead of everybody moving up 1 base, everyone is going to move up 2 bases. So with 2 outs, everyone gets an extra base, every runner. So this run is going to score. And normally this run would only go 1 base on a single, but because there's 2 outs, he scores from second base, and essentially this one would go to third base. You'd have runners at first and third. So that's actually going to be a 2-run single because there's 2 outs. Normally that would only be a 1-run single. Okay, so now we move to the bottom of the first inning. So every half inning, there's only 1 action play. So this is our action play. And now we're going to move on to the bottom half of the first inning. And now it's the Mets' turn to come up to bat. So they have the bases loaded as well with 2 outs. And their number is a 6. So it's not a wild card. It's an actual number. And when you see that, you would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now John Stearns is going to be the first batter to bat for the Mets. So because Stearns is from the home team, we're going to click on home, and that's going to be an 8, and Stearns has no star, which it wouldn't matter anyway, because an 8 is just going to be an out. So the way we do that is we record the 0. There's no score for that half inning because he made an out instead of getting a hit and scoring any runs. Again, the name of the game is scoring runs, not getting hits necessarily, although you need hits to score runs. So now we move to the top of the second inning, and that'll be the Dodgers. So runner on second with 2 outs, and 4 is our number here. So we just say 1, 2, 3, 4. So we go 4 batters down from the one before, and we'll click on our visitor card. That's a 10. So a 10 is going to be a hit for any player. Remember, a 9 is a hit for any of these star players as well. But a 10 is always going to trigger a hit. And when we click here, we get the ace. And so that's actually a home run and a 2-run home run for Rick Monday. So the Dodgers are off to a good start in this game with 2 runs in the first and second innings apiece. So we go to the bottom of the second. Nobody on and 1 out. And now we can choose here any of our players that we want to take the swing. I'm just going to choose let's say Lenny Randall, because I don't want to have to deal with the pitcher coming up, and I'll tell you why when the pitcher comes up. So this is our home team. I'm going to click into the home team. There's another hit, and unless he hits a home run, there's not going to be any score here. And so that's a queen, and a queen is a double, which is great, but with no one on base, there's no runs scored. So that's the flow of the game. Now, what if a pitcher comes up? If a pitcher comes up, they don't have any, they have the same chance for a hit as everyone else, but when they get a hit, they don't have a chance for a home run or a triple. So I've removed that actually for pitchers. I was getting too many pitchers hitting grand slams, so I just removed it altogether. And so that's how that works. Now, if you want to play the same 2 teams again, you simply come up and click Reset Teams, and then that resets everything back to the way it was. If you want to change your team, you just click Change, and then you'll just simply go through the process of reselecting a new team. And I'm glad that this one came up because you can see the +1 here. Now the +1 means that when there's a hit triggered, and you click on the hit card and flip over the hit card, If it's George Foster, then instead of a jack, he's actually going to have a queen because he has a +1. So his power is a +1. So instead of a single, he would hit a double in whatever situation he's in. So those are your two sort of special markings that you have for the batters. Now let's take a look at the pitchers. The pitchers are down here, and you can also click on their names to keep track of who's pitching at the moment. There are a couple of different ways that you can handle pitching in quick play baseball. And one is to do just an overall team grade. And so you can see that that's, coordinated with the grade down here. So you have basically set this to A, and for the whole game, anytime the Reds are pitching, it would be an A. Anytime the Mets are pitching, it would also be an A. Now, let's change this to the Dodgers, and you can see. I know that the Dodgers have maybe they don't. It's the Braves. Let's try the Braves. Okay, so if we're just going by the team grade, then the Braves and the Reds both have an A. But we have a grade here that's the starter and reliever grade. And so the starters have an A, and the relievers have a B. And that's for the Reds. Same thing for the Braves. So the starters have an A, and the relievers have a B. Now, the way I like to play that is the first 6 innings go to the starters. So then you're going to use an A. But as soon as you get to the 7th inning, you're going to need to click over into a B. And so you would play essentially the rest of the game with B pitching. That's one way to go. You could say, anything after 7 innings or after 5 innings or however you want to do it. You could actually try to figure out each starting pitcher's normal, innings pitched, average innings pitched, and then work with that so that anything after that is going to go to the reliever grade as well. And then the final way you can do it is you can actually just go through each pitcher. So you can have a starter and he's an A and decide how you want to remove him from the game or if you want to. And then, you have relievers here that you could put into the game. So if you bring in Manny Sarmiento, you would put a B. And then if you bring in Doug Bear, then you would put it back to an A. And then again, that changes your stacks here. It changes your probabilities of getting a hit. So that's how to deal with pitching. I'll also put a link in the description that goes through a little bit more detail with how to do pitching using the cards on the tabletop. And it works the same way as it does here. You're merely flipping cards virtually as opposed to flipping cards in the real world or on a tabletop. The last thing I'll show you is that you can change your card backs. So if you want to change the card style, you can do that when you flip it. It's still going to be, the white, but you can actually change the card backs in the game as well. The situation cards are just sort of plain black on white, and that's how they appear in the game. But the actual deck of cards you can change a little bit. Okie doke. I think that's it. That should get you going. If you have found this game through YouTube, then you can look in the description and I'll put a link to the game guide. It's only 3 or 4 pages, and that will give you a little bit more, a little more detail, but not much. It's not a very detailed game. So one thing I'm hoping for is that people will play this online version, and then you'll give me some feedback. So if you want to send an email to onbasebaseball@gmail.com, that would be great. And that comes directly to me, and you can give me your feedback there. I'll also put that email down in the description so you can give some feedback there. I hope that you enjoy this. I hope that you just take it and run with it. It's only the National League for now, but go ahead and try it out. Have some fun. It is not mobile optimized. It looks better I'm on a laptop, so it's going to look better on a laptop or a desktop computer. You can play it on a mobile device, but it's just not optimized for that. So just to know that, but it will be at some point in the future. And the plans in the future are also to create this as a real application that you would pay to get access to, and it would have multiple seasons, and each season, just like you choose 1978, there would be multiple seasons here, and you could play seasons against each other, different teams from different eras or teams against one another, or you can just play a different season against each other if you're doing a season replay. So hopefully there's enough flexibility there for you, and we'd love to hear your feedback on the game and how it plays, if there are glitches in the interface, things like that. So please don't be shy. The game is in development mode, but I hope that you can also have some fun with it as well. I think that's it. Leave your comments and questions down in the comments section below, and have fun. In the end, that's what I want you to do, is have fun with the game. All right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.